Come here, you all, you who are weary. Come find your rest now. There is rest in me. Come on, let's go. There's room for you. If you have been hurt, if you've been let down, maybe addicted, you're stuck where you are now. Come on, let's go. There's room for you. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come lay your troubles down. Lean on me, put your weight on me. Like a bird spreads its wings, relies on the air. If you just rely on me, you can fly anywhere, anywhere, anywhere. Planned your life out, you danced with excitement. It has not gone as planned, but you're in my hand. Come on, let's go. There's room for you. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come lay your troubles down. Lean on me, put your weight on me. Like a bird spreads its wings, relies on the air. If you just rely on me, you can fly anywhere, 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 anywhere. Good days come and good days gone, you're in a battle now. What you gonna do with the stone I gave you? It's in your hand. Are you just gonna put it down, or will you fill up your slingshot? Throw it in the face of the giant. Go knock him down, down, down. Knock him down, down, down. Knock him down. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come lay your troubles down. Lean on me, put your weight on me. Like a bird spreads its wings, relies on the air. If you just rely on me, you can fly anywhere, 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 yeah. When you go through trials, just look to me. I'll never leave you. I love you, my child.
Amen. Great song, Craig. So what I'm going to be doing from this day forward is I'm going to be in the book of 1 Samuel and possibly 2 Samuel also, going right through the book. So the first message that I'm going to title it, Have You Ever Made a Solemn Promise to God? So I'm going to read 1 Samuel 1 through 10 on chapter 1. There was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. One was called Hannah, and the other was called Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Year after year, this man went up from the town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the 2 sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave double portion, because he loved her. And the Lord has closed her womb, so she could have no children. But what happened, her rival Peninnah was provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, "Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you so downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?" And I thought that was pretty funny. Once when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli, the priest, was sitting on his chair by the doorposts of the Lord's house. So again, the title of my message is, have you ever made a solemn promise to God? So Hannah and her faith are the real focus of the message. Although there are men in the Bible who had more than one wife, many of the prophets and men of God, such as Abraham, Jacob, David, Solomon, we could go on, had multiple wives. That was not God's intention. In Genesis 2:24 it says, "A man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife. The 2 are united as one." So why? This is God's intention, not that there be many wives. So why then did polygamy exist? Well, there were a couple reasons. One, there was more offspring that continued in the family line, such as, they wanted more people to produce, and children were very important to them because they could also be a work source for them. And also, the other reason was that many men were killed in battle, and it made it an acceptable way for them to have more children and provide for the family. Polygamy usually caused problems, as you could see between Peninnah and Hannah. So, because Peninnah, for some reason, had a not good focus on Hannah, she would constantly put her down and make her feel bad. But at that point in time, God had closed Hannah's womb. But there's something coming. So we have the priests, Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas. Elkanah gave portions of meat to Peninnah and her children, as it's said in the Bible. Elkanah loved Hannah, gave double portions to her. But the Lord, as I said, gave her no children. The Lord closed her womb. Peninnah, as I said, was tormenting and taunting Hannah. Childless women in those days were an embarrassment to the husbands. Children were very important to economic structure, a source of labor, as I said earlier. Elkanah could have left Hannah, but remained lovingly devoted to her. And as I read, he thought he was as important as 10 sons. I thought that was a little prideful. That was funny. Anyway, today we struggle with our timing. The fact is that we need to wait on the Lord. I don't know how many times that says it in the Bible, but he's constantly telling us to wait on him because he has a perfect timing for all things, no matter what the situation might be. So we struggle with our timing. We want things done our way as fast as we can get it done. So we must learn to go with God's timing, not our own, because He has a perfect timing. And usually when that timing happens, everything is in the proper position. So Perina continued to taunt Hannah, to the point of tears, and Hannah was unable to even eat. Nothing could comfort her. So, though we are criticized by the words people say, and that might hurt us, rather than dwelling on problems, we can go to God with it. Put it in God's box and leave it there. After the sacrificial meal at Shiloh, which Elkanah went with his family every year and worshiped the Lord there was a deep anguish, and she wept bitterly. I'm talking about Hannah now. As she cried out to God, she made this vow. And I want to read from verses 11 to 18 now. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery, and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Eli was the priest, remember. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving. But Eli thought she was drunk and said to her, How long are you going to be drunk? Put away that wine. So Hannah said, No, my lord. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my anguish and grief. So Eli the priest said, Go in peace, and may God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. She said, May your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. And you know why? The reason why is because at that point, after her vow to God, she had enough faith and belief in her vow, in her prayer, that she trusted God. She believed he was going to fulfill her vow. And did he? Well, let's go on. So, the part there that says the hair, they would keep the hair long, that was actually a Nazirite vow. And as it reads in Numbers 6, 1 through 4, what you have to do is eat and drink nothing from a grapevine, whether it be wine, grape juice, or anything related to the grapevine. Never cut your hair. No razor touches your head. You might remember that in the story of Samson. That's another message. And don't go near a dead body. So, Hannah promised the Lord that his hair would be long, the child, when it is born, if it was going to be born. Hair was a sign of a separation to God, consecration, sanctification, holy, set apart for God. As she is praying, again, as I said, Eli watched her and recognized that she was actually praying and not drunk. So, myself, when I go through a trial or troubles, I've learned over the many, many years of messing up to rely on God, to put my trust and faith in him. And as it says in James 1, when we pray and we have faith in God and we believe in him, we must not be like the wave of an ocean, going to and fro, being a double-minded man. We have to pray, believing and having faith that that prayer or vow will be answered. God can always help you through situations such as making solemn promises. Now, I personally have made 2 solemn promises to God. And the reason I promise God is because I know if I promised God, I wouldn't mess up. But don't think that you don't get tempted, because you do. And God is our strength, and we need to go to him for that strength. So, by the grace of God and by his strength, I've been able to stick to my solemn promises to God. So, we must keep our word to him. We must not be dishonest in the things that we do, and we must keep his promises. So, and Hannah, what happened? Well, Samuel was born, and she gave Samuel right back to the Lord. After she weaned for 3 or 5 years with Samuel and weaned him, she gave him to the priest at Shiloh, at the tabernacle. And he stayed there for as long as I have read about, for his entire time, raised up in the promises and life of God. So he was a major work that was going to happen for the future. Samuel was an amazing man of God. So, but then I want to read 24 through 28, and that will be the last part. It says, let me get there. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her young as he was, along with the 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli. Eli was the head priest. And she said to him, "Pardon me, Lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord had granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord and worship the Lord there." And that basically is the end of the story. But Samuel, that was a blessing. But you know what? God also blessed Hannah with 5 more children, 3 boys and 2 girls. And so, have you ever made a promise or a vow or a solemn promise to God? Well, it's not a bad thing to do, but you got to stick to your faith. So, I hope you all have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you next week, where we will continue this story.